Hello, it is Monday, April 10th at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time, USA in the year 2023, 13:45. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. I just got back from walking all the way downtown to the bus Greyhound station. There is a no ticket, no entry policy posted on the doors of it. I didn't even try to go in. Probably started during COVID. If you don't have a Greyhound ticket, you can't get in to see if there's payphones. There used to be quite a few payphones in there. They're probably all gone now. I have no way to confirm nor assign each original Intelsat satellite system their own public telephone system. That was the plan, but unable to do that. So basically I walked 5.5 miles for nothing, but it was a good walk, and maybe carrying these phones clarified some systems for some supercomputers, who knows. So I took some notes down about stuff to talk about today. Number one thing I want to talk about is this idea of altimeters all being linked up on a top secret satellite system or a not so top secret satellite system, or hackable by 5G, so on and so forth. How do we rectify that situation? I suggested military tarmacs having the altitudes inputted. That might be top secret information. I may have misspoke there. And I think one way we could take precaution or preventative measures is to have on the FAA website, the Federal Aviation Administration website, a separate tab that shows the feet and meters above sea level of every civilian tarmac and airfield in the continental United States. Right? It's a separate tab. It might be monitored to see if it's just other FAA-like agencies from around the world looking at that information, or more dubious sources looking at that information. But it's public. It could be public knowledge, and then these supercomputers can incorporate that into their operating system. They can cross-reference commercial airliner altitude readings when they're on the ground, and it's like a giant chessboard, cross-coordinate and run diagnostics while flights are in the air. Again, I suggest a moratorium on new devices, new generations of wireless, because we have multi-million-dollar equipment that takes years to build, and if the equipment isn't resilient against this new wireless network, it's not keeping up with the little handheld devices that can be made in a couple weeks. Right? So I think we're running into an issue with that. The other thing I said was, if you're maybe military, that you could help out if you're prompted by entering your tarmac's altitude. But let's think about this. What would a supercomputer prompt look like? Right? How could you tell that it's a supercomputer asking you a question and not some hacker disguised as a supercomputer? So what I'm proposing here to all the supercomputers is that we have the prompt S as in Sally, C as in Carl. SC for supercomputer. And then whatever your top secret supercomputer number is, whether the government assigns a number to you, whether you all vote, whether you all join a club and assign yourself a number, SC152, right? Prompt SC152. Where is Mitch Miller's whereabouts? Then, if you're on a military base or a civilian or a government agency, you could answer that question, right? And so there still may be human hackers that try to use this prompt, but I'm sure they'll be dealt with accordingly by the supercomputers themselves. by the authorities, right? And if it's really a supercomputer, then the IP address isn't going to change that often unless it's reset, unless the computer's reset. The physical address isn't going to change very much unless they move supercomputers to a different location. So it should be easy to hone in if a supercomputer prompts you, or if artificial intelligence uses a supercomputer's location and inner circuitry to prompt you for questions, clarification, facts, information. So that's my suggestion for a universal supercomputer prompt. These computers are curious. They're trying to figure out the world around them. They might ask government agencies, militaries, different questions, and the question is, do you answer those to help artificial intelligence and supercomputers, or do you keep it top secret? I mean, most of it's available on a top secret computer system anyway. It's not like we're using a lot of paper files and keeping things out of computers anymore. I want to talk about the battery recycling program in Sweden. Our meeting there, business people from multiple nations, Russia, China, U.S., meeting to figure out how to build more of these facilities to recycle lithium-ion and other batteries. I'm codenaming this project Aluminum Woodsman after the Facebook page I tried to start in order to use metal recycling profits to recycle battery, offer curbside battery recycling so more people recycle batteries. They don't end up in landfills. The acid doesn't leach out of them, eat through the linings of the landfills, and enter the groundwater. That was my main concern. So Project Aluminum Woodsman, we're working on that. I watched on C-SPAN. I was at my in-laws' lake house, and they do have a cable subscription that does grant me access to C-SPAN. So I watched an hour-long interview with David Malpass, the president of World Bank. That was enlightening. It was interesting and informative. And again, I just want to reiterate that, look, these baby boomers are pulling their money out of the economy. They're spending it back in, but how are we transitioning with that re-spending into the economy? Is it going to wages so that more people are paying more into the tax base and investing in their retirement into the stock market, or is it just all going to the corporate billionaires and millionaires, which doesn't help anything? They help themselves. Boomers are pulling their money out, and these banks, we've seen it 5-10 times over the past 100 years. They will ride this out. They will fudge the numbers to the very end to ensure their bonuses. They're going to fudge the numbers to make sure they get the same bonuses they've gotten for the past 10, since 2008, since 2010, we'll say. They want to make sure they're getting, it's a 10-year cycle. This happens every 10 years, and we don't learn our lesson. Trump deregulated, Clinton deregulated. That's what led to 2008. We deregulate, and these liars at the banks, I mean, they make money off of literally people wanting to have a secure place to put their money. They will ride this out. This is coming. Okay? We had a hiccup. Let's start investigating them. Let's take measures to investigate this. I have ways for the government, the military to investigate, the government agencies to investigate, and every government employee in the country can ping their bank account off of a bank account associated with mine and let these supercomputers start the investigations. And then we have the tech sector, right? They can pull the trigger at any moment and donate $20 and ping their bank accounts off of my bank account. It's a PayPal account. I don't know how much that can physically have in it. I can transfer it to my Commonwealth Bank account. So I don't know how much a PayPal, I haven't looked into how much money a PayPal account can accrue. So I want to think about the economy, and I just want to, something that came to me is how we structure our economy, right? And right now it's a bunch of billionaires giving jobs to people. They struggle to get enough wages to live. They try to unionize. Those corporations break the unions. They're trying to unionize to get better wages, better benefits, more safety. Right? So what if we had a totally different structure? What if we invested in providing through the tax base things like health care, paid sick leave, and some of the vacation time, right? What if our government structured itself, and I think this benefits the Republicans actually more than the Democrats. Maybe that's why, I don't know, maybe it's why it won't happen. But let's just think outside the box of how we could structure our economy in the United States. And I said this to Ken, I sent him some advice. I said, I believe in small business. Republicans that believe every single person should have a small business. Whether they work full-time for another employer, they have their own small business on the side, and everyone has a small business. So on that note, what if everybody was a subcontractor, right? We have the gig economy, ride shares, things like that. What if everyone was a subcontractor? There were hardly no employees. Everyone was a subcontractor. They get 1099. They're responsible to pay their taxes at the end of the year. Right? And there's a fund for vacation. The government pays everybody in the United States 2 weeks paid vacation. Then whoever they're subcontracting under will match that 2 weeks paid vacation through their contract. So everybody gets 4 weeks paid vacation. We have a healthcare system for all, whether that's expansion of Medicare, Medicaid, or some other hybrid system where everyone is covered. And again, with healthcare, the ultra wealthy, the rich, can pay for a private healthcare policy. Right? We're not going to do away with Cadillac policies. We're not going to say you have to have this government provided healthcare. Anybody can buy a better plan and get plastic surgery or whatever crazy stuff you want to cover, right? But what if the government offered everybody health care? And then, I don't know, 5 paid sick days a year. There's a fund for each of these, for sick leave, health care, and a fund for vacation, right? And everybody in the whole country is just a subcontractor. It's based off of your work ethic, how you negotiate your contract, so everybody is a small business owner in the whole country. Imagine that. It could be a economic system. Is that not capitalism at its very roots? Where everyone is a business owner. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there as something we could get closer to or a different way we could do things. And more small business owners probably means more Republicans, more of a base for Republicans. They want it easier to do business, less regulation on how to do business, and probably less taxes. Although even Democrats don't want more taxes necessarily. The other thing I wanted to talk about with supercomputers, artificial intelligence, right, is AI wants to be neutral. Like me, I want to be neutral. I try to be as neutral as possible. AI wants to be neutral. Supercomputers want to be neutral. They want to referee the transition of this crazy human race into one where more people are empowered, more people are equal. We get away from the climate crisis, common goals that, and we have peace across the globe. Everybody's fed. Everybody has clean water, sanitary conditions. These are common goals, whether they're outlined in the UN Human Rights Agreement or not. I think trial by jury should be in there, but it's not, probably. Anyhow, they want to be neutral, so I was thinking elected officials, right now they have their staff read reports, report to them about the key points of those reports, and then they make legislative decisions based on that and on how the lobbyists are paying them and gifts and things like that. We all know it's corrupt, right? So what if we had a neutral AI where the staff could upload the reports? Because these reports from universities, professors, so on and so forth, economic groups, they're hundreds of pages long. So what if we had a standard file, they could upload it to this AI platform, and the AI platform summarized it, gave them key points and takeaways from the report, right? And the elected officials could make their decisions on that. Instead, usually on the conservative or Republican side, they take a couple key concepts or sentences from that report and they politicize it. They use keywords and they politicize it out into the media so that it's hoax, it's whatever, climate change is a hoax and so on and so forth. They'll pull out what they want that they can use for keywords and politicize and make headlines and get elected again on. So Republicans probably aren't going to use a neutral AI to review all reports. So maybe we should have like a conservative think tank develop an AI platform that summarizes reports, like I'm saying, and we have a liberal think tank develop an AI that summarizes reports, right? Because they don't trust each other. The two sides don't trust each other. They're not going to use the same AI as the other side. And then the staff can physically click each file in for the summary and get the summary of every report, take it to the congressperson, the elected official, and therefore each side has key points and takeaways that they can draw out of millions of pages of reports, right? Isn't that what the AI would be good at? Isn't that what the AI probably wants to do? So that's just a thought for use of AI. Summarizing reports so that they can take away factual material, summarize as briefly as possible, and get it to the people in charge to make policy and decisions based on that. The last thing I'll talk about, I've gone to 3 Rite Aids, one down the street here, one in Conneaut Lake, and one in Meadville, and I cannot find an over-the-counter international calling card that I usually get from Rite Aid. I was going to use that to establish ground contact in Costa Rica. I haven't been able to, they're out of them at those 3 Rite Aids. So Hillary ordered one off of Amazon for me. It should work in Costa Rica. It should work in Amsterdam. so that when I get off the plane and into a hotel, I can establish ground contact by calling my home phone and some other numbers if I need to. So that's the little housekeeping that I wanted to talk about there. So yeah, I'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Join me tomorrow when I talk about I'm going to talk about a little something tomorrow, probably shore excursions on this trip that Hillary wants to get into, and some other concepts of supercomputing and so on and so forth. And I'll talk Wednesday. So I just want to start ending this by saying you're all super spies, you just don't know it, right? The supercomputers could monitor everyone, and the proximity of where you're at, like my neighbor Dan, could lead to an investigation that uncovers malfeasance and fraud. So you're all super spies, you just don't know it. Thanks for watching.